Hi, I'm Greg. I'm the lead singer for Lipstick Generation.
And I'm Steve. I'm the bassist.
And today on the Lipstick panel, we are actually having artists who we talked about on the show refute our ranking and tell us how wrong we are about judging their art.
Right.
We've got the guys from Salvo on the Lipstick panel, one of Steve's favorite bands,
right,
which he can now awkwardly talk about to them and actually confront them about their art. Hey, Steve, artists are allowed to grow and change, right, guys? But yes, we've got Adam and Dan from Salvo joining us on the program for the first time. Welcome, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So for maybe regular listeners of the show, do you want to introduce us to your band, your history a little bit? Tell us a little bit about Pain and then transitioning into Salvo and what led to the decision to come back as Salvo?
And how many just like flagrant lies we told about you last time.
Right. So many flagrant lies.
I mean, we just read the Wikipedia.
Well, as you know, all through the 90s, we were a super famous ska band. And
a ska band like Minor Threat.
Exactly. Just exactly like Minor Threat. And we toured and played vigorously and happily for most of the 90s as Pain. Just an 8-piece band, quirky, fun. I don't know. That was us, right? And then we took a big break, and that was all my fault. And then we reformed 372 years later as Salvo, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, the Onion headline is "Local Band Deceives Tiny Following: Thwarts Comeback."
Well, you know, as someone who came into your discography very fresh this year, I mean, I've heard bits and pieces just hanging out with Steve. The material holds up very well, still sounded, you know, fresh and competitive to fresh ears. And, you know, I did the episode not assuming or caring if you guys would listen to it, because like, this is just my honest opinion of the music, which was very strong, very positive, and you have a very excellent catalog. So I'm looking forward to, you know, taking a deep dive into your latest release and, you know, you telling me how right I am and how wrong Steve is about it.
It was a really, really good show, fellas. Really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You do a good show just normally, but it was particularly good because, of course, it was about us.
Right.
All right. I mean, you know, we're only as good as our subject matter.
I mean,
so
it's a good album. I can only make so many snarky jokes about Kiss albums before I'm like, oh, even I'm bored of this.
Didn't you guys do like 7 episodes about Jim Steinman?
Yeah. I literally.
You guys are the most prepared guests we've ever had.
I do it at certain gigs, so yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's fine with me.
we literally got a message about that yesterday, where it was like someone messaged the band Facebook page, like, "Hey, so I woke up this morning with a strange urge to listen to a Jim Steinman podcast, and boy, did you guys over deliver." Like I did that being completely self-indulgent, assuming no one would listen, and that's probably our most well-received series of episodes, which, you know, it just goes to show you, kids, that weird, inaccessible idea that you have that you think has no commercial viability, it probably doesn't, but at least 50 dudes on the internet are going to think it's awesome.
There's that one person who will find it inspiring and love it.
Yeah, a Springsteen song comes on my radio every single day. So yeah, so I'll leave it at that. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but that happened. So that's I'll digress into that subject matter. So, you guys had a question. Sorry.
I don't know if I necessarily did, but you know, let's. What I want to do is I want to go through the ranking we did on the show, and you can just tell us how wrong the ranking is. Like, this is your chance to refute and rebut, which we haven't had on the show. So this is our first Padception, the first, you know, rebuttal. So at the bottom of our ranking of Off the Charts by Salvo, the least best song, because we're not saying there's a bad song. Least best is what we say on this show, unless it's a bad album, in which we say the worst song. So we've got a Limp Bizkit episode coming out in a few weeks.
Oh, we still haven't released that yet?
We have a backlog, dude.
Do we have time to do another Limp Bizkit episode before it comes out, Greg?
No, we don't, because you're out of town for like 2 months.
Their second album, weirdly kind of okay.
All right, so, but talking about a good album and a good song off a good album, we're going to talk about Whose Thing Is That? So, were you guys surprised that this ranked at the bottom? Were you angry with us? Were you feeling vitriol? Just tell us a little bit about this composition and how angry you are with all of us for ranking it at the bottom.
I was in total agreement with every single word that came out of your mouths.
Wait, all three of our mouths?
It's not really true. Not really true.
Hey, dance songs, you never know the dance trend. Yeah, it's a dance song. You never know what's going to be toe tapping. So there's that. No, it was a lot of work. That it was fun to do. It was some of that song was slightly improvised, but a lot of it was written out. And it's like you said, it's been fun to play live. So
that really is. That's of all the songs on that album. That's one that I was hoping would evolve live over the next few months. You know, that it would become something really almost totally different than what's on the album. It's supposed to be just a fun thing. And so I don't know, maybe for some people it didn't translate well onto an album. Maybe that's true. I'm willing to concede that. But hopefully it'll be a really fun thing, and you'll come to a show one day and listen to it and say, wow, this is actually the best song in the entire album.
the guitar solo is now just me screaming at the top of my lungs. For about,
Right, exactly.
That's
See how it's grown up? Our baby's all grown up now.
Well, I still think it is a fun song, and there's a P-Lander Z song that sort of comes to mind called Mad Tiger, where it's not necessarily like a good song on an album, but live, it is absolutely amazing and is perhaps the best song in the show. So that's kind of where I feel this one kind of fits in, where like I could see the crowd really having a back and forth, and it really like fitting more in that live setting, but it's still like it's enjoyable to listen to. Like it's pleasant. It has a nice melody. You know, it reminds me of like certain video game soundtracks I listen to. We're like, yeah, this is a nice little instrumental. I enjoy it.
So does the live version answer whose thing that is?
No, it doesn't. There is no answer to that question.
It remains a mystery for the ages.
Well, no, it's answered in the Meatloaf song.
Oh, I brought it up. Oh man, I did it. I wish you guys could hear the names of the parts that we call these parts. Like, okay, and this section is called the Super Mario section, and this part's called the just for lack of a better term. Like when the horns come in, this is called this, and
right.
I remember, and yeah, that's
We actually have a song with an extended instrumental section, which was before Steve joined, but that's how we like worked out the different sections, was we had different names for them. So like this section is called The Angel Arrives, and this is The Warrior Cometh. And so that was just a way of remembering things. So yeah, I get it. That's a very valid approach for instrumentals.
I get it. We had a good time blasting one of your records in my car. We drove around the town just listening to Lipstick, Generation for a while. And that was a load of fun. So we'll get to that later. That was
oh wow, Steve, that has to be super meta for you. Like a band you grew up listening to listens to your stuff,
right? Wait, was it the first or the second album?
I think we put on both.
Oh, okay.
So they actually did get to listen to you.
It would be amazing if it was just the first one. It was like, okay, this band you really like listens to that album from that band you joined later.
Let's pull up Apple Music and just go through the discography. I can't believe I'm doing this. I didn't wait for anything to come out. Let's go to the top tracks, like for Housewife and Little Girls, just put the greatest hits, and then just put the album on and let it go. Thank you for that.
Well, hey, enough about our amazing music. Let's talk about your amazing music. Speaking of your amazing music, so second from the bottom for us was Castle or Cross, my favorite song about the Crusades.
Yeah, can you guys like talk about like what's that song about?
I don't know.
Okay, so I can tell you that at no point that I recall did the Crusades ever enter my mind when I was writing that song. But I'm glad that it speaks to you on that level. But okay, see, I don't want to drag down the high quality of this podcast with too much introspection. Okay, so But I'm gonna try and get introspective here just for a few seconds. I mean, will like the internet even bear that?
The thing is, we actually do get pretty serious on the show. Like the original intended premise of the show was to have deep discussions about art, and then we did a bunch of Kiss albums, and then it just became a comedy show instead, because we did a bunch of Kiss albums.
Just with the occasional like deep dive into, you know, the super darkness whenever we talk about Gojira or Vinnie Vincent.
I mean, Gojira was just me complaining about, hey, there's not melody on this album. But yes, I would really love to hear, like, if you feel introspective, then be introspective. I want to hear the true artist soul coming through.
Okay. Are you ready? Well, here it comes in. Just fasten your effing seatbelts. Adam, do you mind? Here I go. Are you ready?
Go for it, man.
So, like, I had this. Believe it or not, this album is a concept album.
Nice.
It's actually, it is supposed to have kind of a theme. I don't think anybody really had picked up on any of that crap other than me. So that's okay, though. That's okay. It's in there. It is in there. And I had this idea about a middle-aged man suddenly coming to a new awareness of his life and reflecting on where he's going in life, and then that life leading to the ultimate conclusion and then passing on into the afterlife, right? So whose thing is that is the afterlife. Whose thing is that is you passing into this kind of this heavenly state where that's just filled with all this wondrous stuff. And so the guy is just kind of wandering around going, whoa, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, whose thing is that? What the hell is that? That's amazing. You know what I mean? Walking around in wonderment, looking at all this new stuff that's being revealed to him in the afterlife. You follow me? Does that make sense? And enjoying himself. Enjoying himself in the process. You know what I mean? It's like suddenly he's like filled with joy. You know what I mean? Okay, so there's that. That's in there, believe it or not. You'll never listen to that song the same way again, I bet. And then if you go to Castle or Cross, that was a reflection on love, right? And how awesome love is. That it has the power to be whatever it wants to be. You know what I mean?
Is this
if you're
romantic love or heavenly love or like intentionally vague between the two?
Romantic love is all wrapped up in there, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's all in there. But I'm just talking about like that total love where you love the other person and you just want what's best for them.
Like at the end of Frozen, dude.
Oh my God, you just totally like eviscerated me.
No, Frozen's my favorite movie. That's the biggest compliment I could possibly give you.
Oh, okay then. Well, never mind. Then thank you. Well, I was gonna say that no, I do know what you're saying. Okay, right. Like Frozen, I get that. Okay, so like you have all this love for somebody or something, or love that's like a non-selfish love. You kind of have this amazing power. You know what I mean? You can enjoy it in a really luxurious, rich setting, but even you can also show it and enjoy it even if you're getting your ass kicked. You know what I mean? Even if life is kicking your ass, you can still be loving and kind of defeat everything. Does that make sense? I mean, you can you're sort of victorious no matter where you are, whether you're in a good situation or a really horrible situation, you know? That's what I was trying to get at with how love has a radical freedom. You know, you're radically free if you're filled with love. And you can't be that way if you're full of hate. If you're full of hate, you're always just kind of walking around enslaved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so what you're saying is love is such a powerful force that it doesn't matter if you have, such a great life that you are invincible, wrapped in a castle full of luxuries, or if you are, pinned to a cross, enduring torment and struggles in life. If you have love, it is stronger than both of those.
It's really just about the Crusades.
Okay.
No, you are exactly right. That's it. You said it way better than I did. Thank you.
Well, I am so glad that we're doing this episode because, one of the other ideas of the podcast, other than us being a comedy podcast, was for me to and us as a collective is to hear different perspectives on music, and then when we revisit that music, see if we can listen to it from that person's perspective and appreciate it more, which will definitely be the case for me revisiting Castle or Cross and being like, wow, now I get that song on a different level. There's been, songs we've talked about on the show where I wasn't too hot on it, and then I heard someone's explanation as to why they loved it. Then I revisited it and found that I really liked the song. So that is
right.
why we're doing the show.
Like
so
that.
thank you.
And watch movies like that too, where after you talk to somebody, you go back and you watch the movie and you're like, oh, that's a great movie, So hopefully it'll be the same with these songs, or everyone will hate it.
So Castle or Cross elevates to number 1 on the list, but next on the old ranking, we have Land Beside the Sea, which, Steve is wrong about. It's great. But also, I love Sweeney Todd. He wasn't too big on it, so, I get
I
it.
wasn't super impressed by Sweeney Todd.
So, Land Beside the Sea, what was the thought here other than just like, hey, a seaside waltz would be fun?
Is that about heaven?
Armies. I remember that line. Isn't there a line about vampiric armies, Dan?
No, that's the song about rain.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really? Great. Cut.
Adam, we clearly need to have some more rehearsals.
Land Beside the Sea is the waltzy one.
Right.
Look, I get you're a guitarist and you don't count. But you can count to 3, right?
Zombie Farmhouse. There's something in there. Zombie Jesterson. James Jesterson. Yes. That song. We're like this.
It's okay. So are we. We have so many songs with rock in the title, or band practice and set lists are so annoying. Like, okay, we're playing rock next. Which one?
Look, it was
The
an
fifth
A
one.
flat. It involved a balalaika. Yeah, the capo.
Right.
That's the extent of my knowledge with the song. Oh boy.
Yeah. So Land Beside the Sea also kind of fits into my big, giant, pretentious concept idea. That's supposed to be a man and a woman who are kind of at the end of their lives, and they've been through a whole lot, like a lot of stuff, like in any life, I guess, a lot of suffering, a lot of happiness, but they're kind of getting close, like the twilight of their lives, right? And so they're reflecting on all of the hard times, and at the same time, they're kind of like within the same song, they kind of move from this world into the next. That's why I wanted it kind of close to the end of the album, you know what I mean? And so they're kind of moving from this world with all its sufferings and crap that you have to go through, and into and just kind of crossing over, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm talking about shores and stuff. So I'm thinking like they're leaving one shore, crossing the whatever the.
Like Frodo at the end of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I was about to say it's about the Grey Havens.
There you go. That's a very good analogy. Yeah, kind of like that, right? And they're moving on to another shore, right? So yeah, you're right. I guess that whole Lord of the Rings. Gosh, I guess I really did just rip off J.R.R. Tolkien. Oh, that's okay.
Didn't we all?
It's okay. He ripped off Norse mythology, so like it all loops around.
Yeah, that's right. It all comes around.
To be fair, he also ripped off Christianity.
He did. That's right.
I mean,
right. He borrowed liberally.
The passing of to the Grey Havens thing is pretty flagrantly like, all right, this is my take on what Narnia was trying to accomplish there.
Mm-hmm.
They were buddies.
Yeah, they could write snarky letters back and forth to each other, like, no, my boats as a metaphor for going to heaven is better than your boats as a metaphor for heaven.
Yes.
I mind
right.
like typing as I said that, and they probably hand wrote their notes to each other, didn't they?
Probably.
Probably. It took a lot longer. Snark was slower then.
They were also wordier about it too. So, dear Sarah, I am writing to you today. First of all, to wish you good health to you and yours, but also to dispute the spurious claims about my writing.
Exactly. I've read that letter.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, they're doing a film adaptation. Tom Hanks is playing both of them. Should be great.
That's right.
But yes,
All right.
Land Beside the Sea, one of my favorite songs about Tolkien's works not done by Led Zeppelin. Next up on the list, we have The Only One.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is my idea as the single. Tells you what I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
this is
was
the lead off.
Yeah.
The lead off single. And like this is the one that's going to really people going to identify with it and then bridge the gap of Pain fans and Salvo and look where it lands. Way to go.
I mean,
yeah.
it lands with this weird like sample size of guy who listens to avant-garde doom metal, guy whose favorite movie is like a Disney animated movie from 2013, and just like a well-respected punk musician. So, but then again,
But he was the one who voted this one at the bottom.
right, he's the one who brought it down, so maybe he does know what he's talking about. Tyler couldn't be here with us today, but yeah, he wasn't into The Only One as much as other songs on the album, but I liked it.
Yeah, I thought this was a good bridge to the old Pain style love song, and that like lyrically this was very reminiscent of One-Legged Girl or Midgets with Guns.
Yeah,
And that like it's got that.
fellas, you really hit the nail on the head, because Adam and I made conscious decisions to have songs that were Pain-like to help ease the passage for Pain fans.
So the guys like me wouldn't be too upset.
Right, exactly. And then be able to include stuff that starts to sound like more of a departure, So you really kind of called it that. The Only One is meant to be something to help you feel better about yourself.
It's also how we write. It's like, well, it's like that's our old man down the road right there for John Fogerty. Like that's going to sound like CCR. Yeah, there's my reference. Like, there's no other way to write that song except it's going to sound like what we sounded like. And so we didn't include a harp at one point. So
The goal is not get sued by your record label for ripping yourself off.
yeah, that would be wonderful.
Rose is over there plotting somewhere, like, how dare they?
How dare you sound like that in the key of A?
I am so refreshed by the level of like artistic honesty. I mean, like, yeah, we're trying to go for the old sound, like not even dancing around it like so many other acts would do. But like, yeah, this was our way of like weaning you in for what we're going for with like mixing the old and the new. But I think this is like, I would say the songs in the album that attempted to do that, I think were all very successful. And I think why this album succeeds is that if the entire album was that, like songs with this style, I think it ultimately would not have been an album that would have held my interest as a music connoisseur. Mm-hmm. So for the diehard Pain fans who were there anyway, I think they would like it. But I think for like bringing in new people, I think ultimately the approach you took was, I think, the better one. And one I really, really respect.
Honestly, I think if you did nothing but songs like that for this album, even diehard Pain fans would get a little bit bored with it, because none of the Pain albums were like that. All of the Pain albums had, a couple of weird divergences into, other stranger tones.
Mm-hmm.
What we're saying is your self-awareness paid off and you did it right.
Nice work.
That's kind of how it worked out. When we got back together, it was like these songs sound like Pain songs. Otherwise, it would be a solo record, or it would sound like this or promoted some other way. But it's like this sounds like us again. So that way, and that's why I heard a lot of this stuff going. It's like, oh, that does remind me of this and that, and this all the quirkiness. It was hard for me to go back and listen to older stuff and think all this. I don't hear similarities in a lot of songs, except for like maybe a guitar sound or a tempo or a meter or a drum beat or something like that. But so that's how it felt kind of natural extension of I would say progression, but extension. So yeah, who wants to progress? So
Progress, boo,
boo.
Yeah. Keep rock where it is.
Steve wants all of his artists to be in the exact same state they were 20 years ago.
Right.
That's why Steve is really disappointed by current Smashing Pumpkins. Like, what? It's not like they were in the past. He's happy sometimes now.
Yeah. We thought about you with the doom gloom metal, so that might be showing up sometime soon too, or just
Excellent.
email you something. couldn't help but
Oh yeah, I did say that something about one of you guys do a doom metal song in the next album. Please do.
100% of panelists on the last episode really want a doom metal song from Salvo. The fans demand it, and if we learned one thing,
the fan demands it.
we pander to the masses. So, yeah.
Look, if Sonic the Hedgehog and Star Wars have taught me anything, is that pandering to online fans always goes over well.
It always works. Yeah, I'll just email it to you.
As a matter of fact, we may release an album, the next album. Just go ahead and release it with the understanding that you may tell us what sucks and what doesn't, and then we'll go back and re-record everything.
I like it. This is a good plan.
Yay, art.
Right, exactly.
Oh, fun.
Speaking of Steve having poor opinions, so next up on the list is a song that two of the panelists thought was great, and then someone was curmudgeonly and wasn't as into, but we've got Why Is It Gotta next on the list.
Look, I'm not a dog person.
And look, some of us have hearts.
Some of us like cats.
I like cats too. I have a heart, Steve.
No, yeah, that makes sense to me. I can see where it could go either way, you know. That and I'm proud of it. You know, I can still say it. Yeah, I can go. Yeah, it might not. If there's one song you're not expecting on this record, I think that's the one right there. And yeah, but oh man, we had fun. Yeah, we did everything but dog whistles. There's whistling. So I've forgotten. Tell me again, fellas, or for those who don't have a heart, why do you not like that song? I like that. And I'm you know, there's no judgment here. No judgment.
There's no. I mean, I'm gonna judge Steve. It's okay. I gave him all the judgment.
You can judge for us.
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you please, you go.
I don't know. This one, it felt a little bit fillery to me, I think, ultimately.
This is so great seeing you on the hot seat as like one of your favorite artists grills you on. Right? Why don't you like this particular song I did? This is so amazing to watch.
Like, I like your songs, just like this one's not my favorite.
Why are you wrong? Is that what it sounds like?
This is as Steve's bandmate and best friend, this is a dream come true right now.
Right?
Like for me.
Just watching me squirm.
Yes, it's so great. But you know, this is joy in musical form in the same way that like the Beatles' "I Want to Hold Your Hand" just makes you feel really good.
Wait, a dog suffering is joy in musical form for you, Greg?
It's the dog like loves its owner and misses his owner, and it's like it's a love song between dog and owner, and just like, why's he gotta be gone so long? I miss my owner. I want to be pet. Like there is pure like beauty and love and affection in this song, and it comes off as so sincere. And so the way that "I Want to Hold Your Hand" is just like so endearing that it just makes me feel good. That's how this song is for me. It just makes you, it's a feel good song.
Wow. Okay.
Way to go, banjo. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Because you can't say that about a lot of banjo songs. Well, that's wonderful. That's yeah, and metaphors.
All right. Neat. That's good.
Thank you, Steve.
Are you ready?
Well, that was Greg saying the nice things.
I was the one saying nice things about it.
I know. I noticed that too.
Yeah. So remember, Steve's the diehard here.
For some more deep thoughts now?
Yes.
Oh yeah. How does this fit into the concept album?
How does it fit into the concept?
The dog is Aslan, actually.
No. When I said this to Adam, the first time he heard me say it was actually on stage. I announced it to an entire crowd of people, and he of course looks at me and says, "Really?" Right there during the show.
You remember that?
I remember that. But it was okay. So considering once again my pretentious ambitions for this album, while you're exactly right, it's a song about a dog and his owner. It's also a song about, I don't know, you, me, anybody, the average person, who is going through a time of suffering, a time of abandonment, and feels abandoned by God and wondering why in the hell God has abandoned him. The owner, with a capital O, in other words, is God. And you are the dog.
Mind blown.
What's the water bowl?
That's liquor.
So wait, you can't reach liquor?
Abandonment or a dog?
Look, it doesn't have to work. I'm just telling you that was what was on my
It's not a one-to-one metaphor. There's some gaps where it just need to like fill in the lyrics to fit the song.
That's right. Ultimately, you just sit around and say, what the hell rhymes with dog?
This is like the most upbeat and goofy song about dark times of the soul that I've ever heard. Let me just bust out the banjo and like Blanca, 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 Blanca. Life is really sad sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I really like that. Like as soon as you started talking, I knew that was exactly where you were going to go with it. I'm like, oh, okay. And I think the difference in like, intelligence and power between like a human and a dog, I think that is like a scale that works between, a human being and God, which is also dog spelled backwards.
Right.
So, whoa, bro.
Mind blown. This is going to be the only episode that we recommend people listen to when they're high, so it really makes sense.
Oh, man, I meant to give you a drop of Joe Rogan saying you ever tried DMT, but I didn't get it to you in time.
I do have the drugs drop somewhere here. There it is. I do cocaine! Wow, that is the wrong move.
But it's a really great lyrical idea, and I'm probably still going to interpret the song the original way.
Feel free. Feel free. Feel free to ignore me. I mean, sometimes I'm just stupid, so just ignore that.
I mean, if I've learned one thing from other guests on the listed panel is that author intent doesn't matter. Because we had a long argument about death of the author, and I argued that you should consider author intent, and Steve and our other guest said, no, Greg, you can't consider author intent. So
I mean, you can
your opinion is invalid, Dan.
Just doesn't really matter.
Right. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
But it's a great song. I like it a lot, and I am looking forward to revisiting it with that new perspective. And that's up. I want to hear how this song is also about Jesus. We've got Goblin Orchestra that's on the list.
As a lover of counter melodies and stuff, this one has zero of that. This has one melody and repeat, and that's it. Yeah. Can we actually write a song that has 1 to 2 parts to it, and have a guitar, bass, and vocals do the exact same thing, and then add goblin sounds? Because there was a time between us calling the band Pain and Salvo, when it was like, how about Dan Lord and his Goblin Orchestra? And so naturally I swiped the name and Goblin Orchestra. So, which led us being Salvo. But
of course,
it's either name works. It's just easier on a marquee. But I think you guys nailed it on this one. As far as what I thought, like that's what the song's about. It's our friends.
Yeah.
And here it is.
I saw some of the Goblin Orchestra stuff when I was like Googling around on things. I was like, oh, that's what they were calling themselves. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun. That involved a 5-string bass guitar.
Right.
So that was fun. Yeah.
Also, that premise really speaks to us as a band in that like we've often done that same sort of thing where our band is just us plus whoever we can convince to hang out with us at any given time. Like, hey, you want to play with us?
Yeah. Yeah, those are our shows. So this is yeah. But oh yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
All right, so our analysis was completely correct about it. So unless we have anything to add, we can move on.
We got one.
Let's talk about the dead air. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, this is
No, this is good. I feel like the podcast is really going well now.
Really flowing. Yeah, we had fun with that. No, it was silly. There was some video footage of that. Just enjoying seeing how silly we can get and tight with that.
Nice.
And we had a musical saw. Had somebody come in and play musical saw on it at the beginning and end of it. Yeah, Vero. That was...
My favorite part is where Adam and I get to just say "oh yeah" to each other.
Oh yeah,
too many lines in the middle.
Yeah, it's like one too many that goes like this. Has to have the last. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was the engineer really liked that.
Yeah, songs cannot have too many oh yeahs, just like how songs can't have the word chop said too many times, right, Steve?
I believe we've had reviewers explicitly tell us that is incorrect.
How many times did you sing that word?
I think I sang chomp 1,500 times, and I sang fight back 2,100 times.
We did a documentary. There's a documentary about us making this record and Payne reuniting as Salvo called Anthem for the Middle-Aged Band. And when it cuts to Stuart McNair, I believe, our trumpet, keyboard player, accordion player, and he says, it's really the lyrics. The lyrics are really matured. The lyrics are really great. And it cuts to, Dan or I just screaming into a microphone going, oh! Like a velociraptor with asthma. And so it's all about the lyrics. That was the Goblin Orchestra.
And hey, that's another episode for us, Steve. We just do a commentary track on that.
It was fun.
Well, hey, speaking of clever lyrical content, next up on the list we have Things Go Away, which my analysis was correct. Hey, Payne fans, get used to us sounding different. Things change. Also, we're going to tell you this in a song that sounds like Payne.
Yeah, well... Yeah, that might be the first. Was that the first one that Dan? I think that you shared with me. Yeah.
So yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That was a beautiful moment. I remember that on the telephone. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The telephone, and that's kind of what got this album actually for me going. I think. Yeah. As far as the ideas and everything. That was
okay, so your analysis of the song, though, where is it on? Where are we on the list? I forgot. Where on the ranking? How did you rank that?
So this was about halfway through our ranking. I put it basically in the middle.
Okay.
Where I thought it has that classic Payne sound. It's one of the songs that sounds most like the Payne albums of the past. But me, since I wasn't coming at this as the guy who had listened to these albums for, 20 years, I'm just like, hey, I'm coming in fresh, judging it song by song. I thought it's a very strong, competent song, but there were other songs on the album I liked more.
And as the person in the band who both most likes Jesus and really likes things that sound like Payne, I was like, third from the top, yeah.
Yeah, I think I think that song kind of speaks for itself. I mean, I don't have any Easter eggs hidden in there or anything. It's just
so Greg's analysis of it secretly being about the band changing may not, in fact, be correct.
No, I think I don't know. I guess that works too. That's good. You know that song "Salisbury Hill" by Peter Gabriel.
Yes. Sorry, I'm the one who's into dad rock on this show.
Right on. It was. I listened to that song for years before somebody told me that it was about him leaving Genesis. I didn't know. Is that true? Is that even true? Maybe I'd tell. Maybe that's not right.
It is. It's about leaving Genesis and also just acknowledging moving on to a new phase in your life. So essentially, it's like, the Frozen 2 soundtrack, but by Peter Gabriel.
Right. Okay. Well, you've tied it all together for me.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, my point was that you were right about everything.
So Things Go Away is the Salisbury Hill of the album.
Well, okay. Yeah, it is. Exactly what we were thinking, right, Adam?
Yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good.
Rocky Mortality in B flat. Yeah, that's something.
Well, hey, speaking of Rocky Mortality, next up is Anthem for the Middle-Aged Man.
Demondre. We had a member from our past, the guy that played Euphonium, Bitches with Guns, DeMondre Thurman, and were Lilliputians with Guns. And he came in and played the opening part of that song. He's like ranked like third in the world of greatness now, whatever he does. And
Whatever he does.
Yeah, he plays with phone and smiles, and and just gives warm hugs.
Just like Frozen.
Yeah, it keeps getting tied back to Frozen.
He's Olaf as a much better speller. And yeah, but that's that. The first sound you hear on this album is DeMondre Thurman, who was our player right before Jason Reed. And their next gig, we get to play with both of those guys, and we're excited for that. So yeah.
No, I once again, I thought you fellas did a fine job of critiquing that song. And there was one thing that's stuck. Oh, I remember. So at least one of you was of the opinion that it sounded that it made you uncomfortable. That it was like, you know what I'm talking about? That it was like, ooh, this is when the middle-aged guy starts singing a song about his middle-agedness, it can get a little awkward. But isn't that right? That somebody felt that way?
I think that might have been me saying I have a disconnect in that this sounds very youthful, and it doesn't sound like someone middle-aged singing the song. It sounds like this would have fit in on a Pain album 20 years ago. And, and so because I, listened to a lot of like 70s and 80s bands, I've like in my brain become more accustomed to like hearing the aging process in those bands because that's my bread and butter musically. And so hearing a band that I associate with, youthful energy still sounding exactly the same in terms of like having that youthful energy, but not being, in their, early 20s, it's a disconnect for me because I'm just not used to that because it is so foreign to me.
But it is a good feat if you can pull it off, though.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's a well done song. It's just like it's the way that Steve was confused when he listened to Loudness for the first time. Wait, so this is Rush meets Halloween but Japanese with Eddie Van Halen on guitar?
Halloween, the second album. My God.
Yeah, so Steve was confused by Loudness and just like, yeah, Loudness is just like what if Rush and Halloween had Eddie Van Halen on guitar, fronted by a Japanese guy. So I'm used to that, and that makes sense in my mind. And Anthem for the Middle-Aged Man, took some like rewiring of my brain to understand what was happening.
It was natural to me to play. That one felt like just fell right back. I haven't used as far as guitar nerd talk, I use a thumb pick now, and I haven't used a regular pick in 15 years. And picked up that for the first time and played that. That felt so natural. So that for me, that's an achievement.
Yeah. That song was another one that Adam and I thought would be a nice bridge for Pain fans.
Yep.
And I think you guys pointed that out too.
Right. I like that sort of sentiment of I'm getting old and that's dumb. Here's a fun, energetic song about that. That is a very 90s kind of thing too, right? Like this is the sort of thing that you could have pictured. Add just way more trumpets and it could be a real Big Fish song.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That guitar harmony solo at the end of it, that makes me so happy. I thought that day would never come or ever want to see that happen. And that happened. So, I'm good with that one.
Well, hey, we're in the top three, and third from the top, we have the title track, Off the Charts.
All right.
So I feel like, title track, this one obviously has to be pretty important to you guys. What made you decide this would be the title track and sort of like the culmination of the album? How is this the sort of the thesis of the album?
Oh, is it the thesis of the album?
I don't know. Is it?
Adam, what were we thinking?
I can't tell you what I'm thinking because I'm
what
being
were
such
you thinking?
Sweet. But I can't say that.
Maybe we made a terrible mistake, Adam.
Yes, we did. By voicing our thoughts right now. I was really pleased with this. I think it has 9 trombone lines on it or something like that, 5 to 9 trombone harmonies, and but I think if it if there is a words in my face, I agree. The end. Jeez.
But what do you agree with? I don't know what you
Yeah.
agree with.
I think it sums up the record. And
Oh, cool. Okay.
it's my go-to song. If I play something for somebody on this record, this is the one I go to.
Yeah.
This is it with the keyboard wizardry and I really this one sticks in my head more than the other ones.
We did think in making it that the title of the whole album, we thought we were being terribly clever by saying, "Oh, this will be an album that we think will be really good, but it will never ever make the music charts."
Yeah. We actually ended up on the charts at a record store locally in Birmingham. Yeah, that was so. Luckily, the charts went in 15s or 12, and the top 10 that wouldn't have happened. But I was happy to see that. Like we're on the charts, Dan.
Ruined.
Yeah. No, it was a fun one to record. It really was.
And that one's pretty self-explanatory too, right? I mean, wouldn't you say that? I mean,
yeah.
It's a story about a man and woman who fall in love and live life or something.
And it's also a really good bridge between a lot of the more experimental tracks on the album and some of the more straightforward tracks. So it's sort of blending the two styles together. And,
oh, cool!
In one of the most cohesive ways. So that in that way, it serves as an excellent title track because it sums up the gestalt of the different moods you're going to get on the album.
Well, that's really cool. Number one, you just used the word gestalt, which I love to hear. And then number two, you're right. You're kind of we didn't exactly mean to do that, but that worked out well.
I am getting so much validation from this episode. All the times that Steve calls me wrong, and his heroes are calling me right in this entire episode. I'm going to use this ammunition all the time, dude.
Oh,
When we get Billy Corgan on the show, he's like, you know what, Greg, you are right. Zeitgeist is my best rock album.
Oh, geez.
This is the part where when it comes to have like a Bill Nye from Love Actually, just just by to where he talks about the festering thing of a record.
Festering third.
Yeah. If anybody wants to say that word, go right ahead. Yeah, but the way he says it, I think. Well, I'll wait.
You do have kind of a sort of a very tender romance with Bill Nye.
Yeah.
He was in Love Actually? I've never actually seen that film.
He was fantastic. He was kind of the aged rock star guy. He was great.
So buy this festering turd of a record for Christmas.
That's right.
So yeah, here it comes. God, I hate that word. But I don't know. I'm trying to get in Steve's mindset now when we approach two. So
no, don't do that.
Okay.
My mind's a weird place. I don't recommend hanging out there.
Right. But his mind has some really awesome glitz punk in there. So
Right.
So number 2 in the ranking was a song that I liked a lot and Steve liked a lot. Tyler wasn't as hot on, but I thought this was great, which was Keep My Peace.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That is, I think, Adam. I am going to shut up here in just a minute. You talk. But what I love about that song is, aside from other things, is that I think it's kind of a harbinger. That's right. I said harbinger. I may use the word gestalt too. It's a harbinger of things to come on our next album. I mean, Adam and I worked really hard to do some things. Adam even more than me actually, to give it a certain sound, and we like that sound. So I think we're going to develop that more. Anyway, so now I'm done. Adam, please say something.
Oh, you're talking about working hard on that sound, Dan. I'm thinking all the systems, as Dan said, was that he and I speak in a series of gestures and grunts.
That's how we work together, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of musicians, when they work together well, they do that. I mean, I'm sure that Greg and Steve have the same rapport.
Yeah.
I mean, he grunts at me, but he's usually just mad.
Yeah, that was fun.
This was the grunt that made me sing it in tune this time.
Didn't know how the song was going to fit on the record, how it was going to place, but it felt right to us. It was a different mood, but and then again, I look at songs like People to People and Derision and stuff like that, and some of our darker than just, just the mentality of it. I don't know, it's just some stuff that Dan, he liked it, and we put a couple of things together, and we're both big Prince fans. So that helped, and The Cure, apparently. So that's your way. That's what was going through my head, for these things. And we have a drummer that's just wonderful that just really went with us on this. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it has that smoky, like lounge, like sexy jazz vibe to it.
Oh, that would be Rachel Wilson. Yeah, Rachel. She's a part of the band. Yeah, that's her. She was very excited to be mentioned on the sexy jazz ballad. So thanks, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a style that I'm very much into that Steve never listens to at all.
Nah, not really.
So this song really it spoke to a lot of my taste because I have a lot of background in that kind of stuff, and mostly in high school. I haven't really done it much, as I've gotten older and doing more professional gigs. But I cut a lot of my teeth on that stuff, and it's so fun whenever it shows up unexpectedly on an album. And it was just so well done where I could play it for my jazz instructors and they would think that's cool. And I think that's the mark of how well you guys succeeded with this track and how high it ranked in the ranking against songs that sound like your classic sound. For us to rank it that high, it's just you knocked the ball out of the park with this one.
Cool.
I think
we were, Adam and I were so eager to make sure that we weren't just doing what you were talking about earlier in the show, and that is to just make another Pain album. We didn't want to just recycle and rehash things. We really had some cool new ideas that we want to keep working on, and that keep my peace really allowed us to explore that. And I don't know. I like I said, I hope that's a harbinger of things to come.
I mean, as someone who likes this song a lot, yes, that makes me very excited about the next album. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to hear what you guys do. If you're saying, head more in that direction and then expand on it. We won't get to these albums for a while because of scheduling things. But as mentioned on the last Salvo episode we did, I was talking about how the last two Kiss albums disappointed me because it felt like a rehash, like they weren't growing, like they weren't evolving or taking risks. You guys are doing that, and that makes the music exciting and vibrant and makes me engaged and want to listen more and figure out where you're going. So that, I mean, look, I am excited for the next Salvo record based upon what you're telling me, because you do sound like you're going to continue to grow and evolve, and that's just awesome.
Good.
There's those albums that have certain songs that sound immediate, like you can identify with immediately, and there's other ones that are kind of like a slow burn for some people, and I'm totally that way. I hope that's one that it tends to grow on people. That it feels that way too, because it's a long song. It's a lot to take in, but it definitely ramps up a little bit. So, or if you dislike it, then it does not stop. So yeah. But that's, I don't know, use the term slow burn, whatever. That I
that,
think,
by the way, is a Peter Gabriel song too. Just
good.
Going. There's yeah. So
Bringing
that's
it
two
back.
Peter Gabriel songs mentioned in one.
the trick is
single
the real
podcast.
concept with this album is that it's a Peter Gabriel cover album.
We recorded Peter Gabriel studio. That's what we want. Can you guys help us? Yeah. This is where we start our fundraiser. Yeah.
So
He gives
speaking
the
of,
Gabriel place.
How-
Yeah.
how does this song fit in the concept? What's the story in this one, or where's the story going in?
Yeah. Well,
This
Yeah.
is a single. It doesn't have to fit into the concept.
You sound like you're being interrogated by the CIA.
I know. I don't know where to look now. and I'm not looking anywhere. If you can see right now, my head's just going in 3 different directions. I'm trying to where to focus. Dan and I we contributed lyrics with this one, so kind of ran with his thought. I don't know if I'd have parted from it or not.
Hey, I think it's great. I think it's great. He didn't, and Rachel, who sang the vocals, who did most of the vocals, she herself was very thankful, and it meant something to her.
Oh, that's right.
And you remember what she said? I don't want to screw it up with thoughts, Adam. Do you remember how she put it?
She was talking about being a female in this business and things that she has to deal with, and just the turmoil and the lack and the respect or lack of that she has to deal with, and trying to bite her tongue. I think for a lot of it, I really equated it to bitterness and trying to deal with bitterness, and at some point you have to let things go, or walk away from those either people or topics or issues. And I think that kind of sums it up.
Good.
Some sort of cathartic tolerance release thingy. Words.
Adam, you are a poet.
Yeah. Coleman and I. Yeah. I'll do his next forward. Yeah.
Well, good news, guys. We are at the top of the ranking. For the sake of consistency on this show, we'll go through the ranking from the bottom to the top, in case you forgot it from the last Salvo episode you listened to. So from the bottom to the top, whose thing is that? Castle or Cross? Land Beside the Sea? The Only One? Why's It Gotta? Goblin Orchestra? Things Go Away? Anthem for the Middle-Aged Man? Off the Charts? Keep My Peace, but the best song on Salvo's Off the Charts, according to Greg, Steve, and Tyler, the song about rain, which,
That's the one with the mosquitoes in it.
right?
Yeah, the vampiric mosquitoes.
So Steve hates any slow ballads because he's not a very mature music listener and can't adapt to bands growing and evolving.
It's true.
But for the rest of us who have taste, we realize how great this song is. So great job, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, for an album with so many songs about the inevitability of death and what comes after that, the slow song should be doom metal.
And I don't necessarily disagree with Steve, but this song is great.
Rather than just like a super happy, chill jazz song.
Right.
Once again, I like chill jazz. I'm like, oh, sweet. It's like that music I like. This is fun.
Dave really worked his tail off on this one. This was a lot of fun. You got to play a lot of different instruments, from mariachi bass to harp, classical guitar, and actually the glockenspiel is actually a harp. And so I hear glockenspiel when I hear that. The words were so beautiful that I don't know them. I keep making my head going, you and I in rain or rain. And might be right, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah. I thank you, fellas, for your kind words about that song. And I was really very surprised that that was your pick for number one, because it's. I thought of it as I thought, oh well, this will be the oddball song of the album, but let's do it anyway. And so I'm really glad that you liked it.
You know what I would sort of compare it to, just because I'm an old man.
Old man Greg.
The Kiss album Destroyer has Detroit Rock City and Shout It Out Loud, but for me the best song on that album is clearly Beth, which is a song that I think just transcends the band. And so this is, the Beth of this album. So we have the Salisbury Hill. We also have the Beth. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful ballad that I think people of most music tastes can appreciate. Like, there are certain, songs on this where, like, you kind of need to like punk to enjoy it, or you kind of need to like this style of music. And then there are certain songs that just anyone can like. Like, most people won't like every single Kiss song, but you can generally find agreement. Like, yeah, Beth is solid. And that's where I think everyone can come together on this one, except for Steve, who hates ballads. But the rest of the world, who realizes how great this is, can be like, yes, this is an excellent, excellent composition.
Well, I wrote this song for Steve.
Now I sound ungrateful.
You ungrateful bastard.
And right before Christmas, how rude.
It's supposed to be the ballad for people who don't like ballads, and yet obviously Steve doesn't love me. So
I'm enjoying this episode more and more as we go through it.
Just watch, Greg. Somehow I'll convince Gene Simmons to be on here, and he'll talk about how you don't
care.
It's true. You already don't respect Gene Simmons.
Like the heroes of mine that I like already talked to me, so I don't care.
I like this song a lot. This is you do make the reference. Sometimes the best things in life are meant to be played slowly. Is that the line?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The music of life is meant to be played slowly.
Well, thank you so
Slowly.
much.
Well, there's a brilliance to the maturity of the piece in that, like, as you get older, you realize that, sometimes the quiet, intimate moments of life are the most beautiful. You alone with your significant other on a rainy day, and you can't really go anywhere. You're not going out. You're not watching TV, but you're just spending time together in that intimacy and enjoying the beauty that is, the rain delivered to the planet by God, allowing life to renew and giving you this, this time of quiet reflection. Because there's a time and a place to be young and full of piss and vinegar and energy and just be there to rock and take on the world. And then there's times for those quiet, intimate moments. And I think that is sort of the beauty of life and the diversity of life are these different modes and emotions and things you can feel. And that is why an album like this is appreciated, because it examines the different aspects of life, and it's not all one-dimensional. There's different layers sonically, emotionally, lyrically, compositionally, and that's why I think this is a strong album and a very strong song. But it's a ballad, so it sucks.
There's our soundbite. I love that.
Right? I'm just gonna drop "It's a Ballad, so it sucks" in every episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, Steve and Greg, I've gone through your podcast and just sampled little spots. I would share out your permission, but it's just some beautiful moments of.
If you want to use a sample of our dumb podcast on a Salvo album, go ahead. We're not going to ask for any money for it. That's a dream come true for Steve.
For future reference, we weren't going to ask your permission. We were just going to do it.
I mean, it's not like we clear any of the samples we use.
And then taunt you with it later.
Hey, I stand by every word I said on this
I
podcast.
know
Most
you do.
importantly,
I know
Minor
you do.
Threat
That's
being a
what
ska
makes it so
band,
good.
and Joan Jett really loving Gary Glitter's music.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow, I was. Well, yeah. Well, yes, you did.
The thing that you said.
Did I say anything untrue? No, I just made everyone uncomfortable.
All right.
So that is our ranking. So, hearing your response, you're like, were you happy with the ranking? Surprised by it? And I just want to sort of like get some wrap up thoughts from you guys, because I mean we talked about a lot in that episode, and you guys don't seem to hate us, which is very refreshing. So I guess we didn't say anything too bad, but I just want to get some wrap up thoughts about the album, the ranking, and where you guys go in the future, and also the plugs of like what you have coming up.
I don't know. I loved it and was surprised. 'Cause I don't know what's going to hit with people. The only thing that I found really funny was the word filler. I don't think I've ever tried to write a filler song. Well,
Oh yeah, nobody tries.
it would be. It just turns out to be like, oh, that's what filler means. Yeah. Now that we waited 19 years to put out filler material. No. We're trying to find some that are semi-subpar. That's all. Yeah, that's all. So that was the only. That's like it took me a minute. Like, people really do that. People actually think I need 10 songs on a record, and like we need to fill that out. That's good enough. That happens all the time. I've never thought about that. Yeah, so I get where it's coming from. It makes sense to me. So maybe,
Well, I hate both of you now. And
That's fair. We deserve it.
That's fair.
this is by far the worst podcast that I've ever been a part of.
We
But
appreciate you
other-
coming
other
on
than
and forming that opinion, like really honestly, though.
Well, I didn't arrive at that conclusion until just now.
Yeah, you really got to know us, so you could hate us like truly and deeply in your soul. And I appreciate that you apply yourself. You're a true artist that way.
fair. Oh. Breathe.
No, all that was malarkey. What I just said. You did a fine job, and honestly, I know Adam does, and I do. We love criticism. We love to hear what people are thinking. I don't know, like you said before, that's what the art is alive. I mean, if there was just this kind of standard issue response, then it probably wouldn't be art worth a damn.
Right.
So I love all the differing opinions and the criticism. I even kind of love the hatred too.
Yeah, it won't make a difference the next record, but
Right, of course.
that's the point, right? Yeah. It's like somebody gives a damn and is caring enough to say these things. I love that.
If we say nice things, then you'll do what you were going to do anyway because you know that you're being supported. And if we say mean things, you'll do what you were going to do anyway out of spite. Win-win.
So this is all helping. Yeah. like my dad. Okay. Yeah. It's helping you.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Does that suffice for closing thoughts on that?
Oh yes, it does. I want to thank you guys, so much for being on the show.
Yes, thank you.
We definitely would love to have you back. Talk about either old albums, because I know like Steve probably has a diehard. Like, there's so many questions I want to ask about the albums I grew up with, but haha, sucker, we're plugging the new release. So deal with that, you nerd.
We totally do that too. Yeah, man. Let it come see you guys, man. That is lovely. Yeah, wish you come to a show.
Speaking
we've got
of
one
shows,
December 30th.
do you have any shows coming up?
December 30th here in Birmingham, Alabama. It's a New Year's Eve show, and it's going to feature. We want to scale it down as a 9-piece band, but of course there's no way we can do that. So this is all they
turned into a free for all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like how many robes? Yeah. How many do we need? I can't specify. There's too many secrets and surprises. But yeah, we're throwing everything into this one, so it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I'll come catch you guys. That would be fun.
Yeah, I think some road trips are definitely in order. I am definitely down for making a trip to see Salvo with Steve. I mean, shoot, we drove all the way out to see Stolen Babies, so I'll go to see Salvo.
And we didn't even get to see them.
No.
Yeah, that's...
We forgot there was a time zone change.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it sucks. Oh, man.
But also, that's when Steve learned not to call my bluffs.
Right.
Like, if he challenges me to do something, I will most likely do it. So he better not challenge me unless he actually wants to go through with it.
Right.
Because I just came home from work when we were roommates. Like, hey, man, do you want to go, like, drive 3 hours to see a metal band you've never heard of? Yeah, sure. Wait, seriously? Yeah, let's hop in the car right now. And that's how it happened.
That's beautiful. Oh, man, that's so awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. Obviously, if you're around the area, please go check out Salvo live, buy the new album, check out the back catalog, and we are Lipstick Generation. Find us at lipstickgeneration.com, all the socials. You're on the internet, you know all the things. But yeah, this is our Christmas gift to you, internet. You get to hear Salvo deep dive into this album and refute us and tell us how right I was about everything. Merry Christmas to me.
I like that your conclusion of everything that was said was like, I only heard the parts where they agreed with me.
Like a true lead vocalist.
That's true, yeah.
That's our episode. Bye, Internet.
Bye.